One of my favorite quotes of all time is that life is 10% of what happened to you and 90% of how you react to it. Despite the fact that life sometimes throws many things at you, but circumstance doesn't justify your destiny. Your attitude does. So it was 9 years ago when I first came to the US. I was so excited to come to this country for education that I bought a wrong ticket and ended up in Portland, Oregon instead of Portland, Maine. As an 18 years old who didn't speak any English at the time, I was waiting in the airport for my uncle to come pick me up, not knowing I'm way on the other side of the country. So while I was waiting to straighten things out, I experienced my first culture shock. So after the longest flight, the 28-hour flight from Vietnam, I was hungry and walked around the airport looking for something to eat, thinking this is going to be my first American meal. This is going to be good. So I skipped all the Japanese and Chinese food court and up in front of McDonald's. Although I didn't speak any English at the time, I managed to copy the guy right in front of me to wrap a sandwich. I got my first bite, and boy, it tastes horrible. I opened the sandwich up, there's some yellow melted stuff inside it. People call them cheese. Of course, coming from a small town in Vietnam, I never eaten cheese before in my life. This is strange. So I ended up just throwing everything in the trash, everything inside the trash, and ate a bun outside. That was my first American meal. So coming from a different country, one of my biggest challenges is the language barrier. Because of that, I wasn't able to communicate with people. I just sitting in the corner of the class and didn't participate, and my grade wasn't great. It was so depressing few months, it got to the point that I was debating whether I should stay here in this country or should I just go home and with my family. That's really when I have to answer the question, what am I here for? I remember when I was a little boy, growing up helping my family raising a fish farm in Cameron Bay. We had to work so hard every day in the heartburn weather in Cameron Bay in Vietnam just to make $1 a day for living. A vision in my mind that one day I have to change this. I have to become a successful businessman to help my family, my generation, to become a better one. And coming here in this country has been a huge step closer to achieve that goal, which something people call an American dream. Therefore, I cannot give up yet, just because of the language barrier, or a cheese sandwich for that matter. So after that, I decided to find all the possible ways for me to improve my English skill. And I soon found out the best way for me is to get involved, to interact with people through different school activities and organizations. And by the time I finished SMCC, I managed to get a really high GPA with an unofficial title people gave me, Mr. SMCC, because of all my involvement with the school activities. During that time, I also worked 50 hours a week to pay off for my college. Sometime in life, to me, you need to step back a little bit, looking in a bigger picture in a positive way to figure out what's next. So when I got out of college, I decided to become an independent insurance broker. To me, at the time, that's one of the toughest jobs out there, not because of the language barrier, but also you have to learn everything from marketing, communicating, selling, and everything. But I always look in a positive way that being in sales gives me a lot of flexibility of my time, and there's no limit on how much I can earn. And after 2 years, I was able to advance myself to become a financial advisor to help other people to plan for their retirement. This is what I enjoy to do. But the more money I make, the more I recognize that an American dream is not only successful in terms of money, but also what you do to make the difference in the community, in your family. To me, that is like being good to great. It's a transformation from good to great, from being successful to become a significant. I work very closely with the Vietnamese community, and a lot of them have the same starting point, just like me, came in from a different country, didn't speak the language and trying to adapt into the new culture. But a lot of them choose to where they are, to stay where they are and not advance themselves with career, business, or education. The next generation is going to continue that pattern again and again and eventually become a burden to the society. I'm working on changing that. So a couple years ago, I decided to purchase a business in Windham, Maine from a client of mine. And it's a nail salon, so we employ 5 to 8 full-time employees. And they are all Vietnamese immigrants who just came here for a few years. But the shop provides them the opportunity to make the income while adjusting to the new life. My cousin who helped me at the salon is a tremendous help for me. And she raised her kid, her family, with the income that she makes from the salon. Another example that I have is my uncle. That's right, my uncle, if you recall it, he's the one who picked me up in Portland, Maine, while I was in Oregon. My uncle is the one who loved cooking. Cooking is a passion, and one of his goals, his dream is to open a restaurant. And last year, we decided to purchase a building in Red Bank, South Portland, and open a convenience store and take out food. And I was able to convince my uncle to come and help me to run the place. And right now, we are selling one of the best Vietnamese sandwiches in town. My uncle is happy because his dream come true. And I'm happy because I can see my family happy. In the bigger picture, because all my connection I have over the years, we are together as a community able to open our first Vietnamese Buddhist temple in Maine, in South Portland, to celebrate or to provide a space for people to come and worship Buddhism and to celebrate our culture. Also, here at the temple, we have fundraising event to help people in the community. Not only that, to build houses for poor people in Vietnam. But one of the biggest things that we do at the temple is we have a class to teach Vietnamese every Sunday. These are little children that are born here, but they don't speak the language, the native language. So we teach them Vietnamese. We teach them the culture that where their grandparents come from, about how respectful we are to others, and how hard we work to prepare for our future. And we have received so many positive feedback from parents about how happy they are because their kids learning Vietnamese. And one of my next projects is I'm building a YouTube channel, all in Vietnamese, to teach next generation, to teach the current immigrant from Vietnam how to handle their money, how to invest, and how to better prepare for their future, and to create businesses. The reason why I'm sharing all of this story to you today is to want to let you know that how appreciated I am today with all the opportunity that I have in this country. And I also really want to challenge you that 9 years ago, as an 18, I was your age, I came out of my country and decided to land in America. Because after the challenge from the language, I was able to advance myself to have businesses. I want to challenge all of you today to get out and find your dream, your passions, and to chase it. And remember, life is only 10% of what happened to you and 90% of how you react to it. To become successful, don't be afraid to eat the sandwich. Thank you very much.